Want to see something cool? The RX7 now has a bash bar. So the other day I went out to Nick's drift shop. Now he's changed locations and unfortunately I didn't bring the camera. But you guys remember Nick, right? Yeah, see you next time, guys. So I went down there and I brought the bumpers for the RX7. This beautiful ride right here. And what we did was we fit some bars in the front bumper so I could start making a bash bar. Now he didn't have a lot of time because he's got clients going in and out, and with all this COVID stuff, obviously we got to keep our numbers very limited. So I had limited time and just one day, not even a day, like half a day, half of an afternoon even. So we went in there, we got the pieces bent for the front so that I could bring it home and I could finish it off myself, because I am somewhat of a fabricator, so to speak. I like to play, I like to dabble, I can weld. So I got all the pieces together that Nick so nicely bent for me. 2 pieces for the front bumper, 2 pieces to go down to connect the 2 bars in the front, like the one on top and the one on the bottom. And then I bought a couple extra pieces of stock off of them just to be sure that I could properly make the mounts. Now the thing is, when you mount one of these bumpers, you don't want it to be too solid. You want it to actually break off in the event of a collision, because the idea is to not twist your chassis up. The idea is to just protect what's in the front of your car, whether it be your radiator, your intercooler, hopefully your tires, in my case, oil coolers as well. So what I'm hoping here is that it is welded pretty solid, like I was standing on it, and I hope that's not too much. And I put a tow hook on it, so I hope it's enough. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Bars that run up and down between the top and bottom of the bash bar, the bars that would take impact, were really tough to do because I had to get this really crazy curve going on so that it would actually follow the lines of the bumper and clear the open mouth on the bumper. This part right here. So I had to make those on the right angle, and it was a lot of chopping, cutting, and testing and trying to fit it. I thought I had it all figured out. Turns out it didn't. Who knew? I got it done. I got it welded in. It looks good. It looks nice. Now this was probably not a great move, but I welded in the tow hook. Not sure if I should have done that or not, but I figured that should be solid enough. All right, dude, so I'm gonna start by throwing down some brake cleaner. And then after that, we still got this Duplicolor primer, caliper cleaner. It's basically thinner than a spray can. Then we'll put some P-Rhymer. And, wait. Paint and primer. Hey, it says Premier. I thought, yeah, never mind what I thought. And then, I got this high gloss black I could probably throw over top for a little added effect. So I'm just gonna set you guys down right here. I'm gonna get to work. Alright, it's time to lay down some primer, and this one I'm gonna do kind of proper compared to how I usually do, which is usually just getting impatient, greedy, and laying down the paint as much as I can. So this one I'm gonna do the whole 1 light coat, 2 light coats, possibly 3 light coats, and then get a little heavier with it, and then throw the base black over top of it, and maybe paint up that tow hook thing so it's red again. Okay, we're gonna let that sit a little bit. So in between coats of paint, I'm gonna take advantage of the time that I have. Sorry about the background noise. And I'm gonna make somewhat of a jack point for the front. I'll show you that in a second. I'm gonna put more paint down. I'm gonna let the primer cure a little bit longer than I did in between the coats of it before I put down the color, so that hopefully it gets a little extra hardened and it stays tough. But while I'm doing that, I'm gonna continue with the front. Like I was saying, I'm building somewhat of a jack point. Now, there's tow hooks on the front that connect to the frame rails that I put back up here. So I grinded a piece nice and clean, and I've got this piece that I got from Nick. Thanks again, Nick. That fits almost perfectly inside. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld that across. It's gonna be good, sturdy, solid. So it's gonna act as a spot where I can jack up the front of the car, because I don't have a jack point on there right now. I gotta slide it all the way into the subframe, and with the front bumper and the skirt kit, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna put a jack point right there. It gives me a strong point to mount to. And also I was thinking, I have to test it out first, but if there's a problem with heating while on the track, possibly I'm losing a lot of air underneath the car. When I put that bar in the front, it's gonna give me a nice angle where I could put a nice little splitter kind of style thing to direct some air directly into the radiator, which in turn is gonna go up, hit the intake and the intercooler. sit good and solid, I'll put a jack point right there. Boom shakalaka. Don't worry, I was closing my eyes when I was spot welding. I wasn't looking directly at it. But now I can take off that bar and I can weld it up properly. Maybe put a little pad for a jack point and paint it. Make it look as cool as the bash bar is gonna look. All right, so that's all welded up. The primer is drying. Gonna let that cool down, clean it off like I did the other piece, and then paint that too. I can't see shit. Alright, so the mounting plate for where the jack's gonna hit underneath on that bar, that's mounted, it's good. I'm gonna let that cool down because it's like smoking hot right now. I burnt my gloves on it and everything. It smells like rubber, it stinks in here. So before I like clean it off with flammable products, I'll let this beast cool off a little bit. There's a plate, it should be alright. I tried to bend the tip of it up so like if you jam a jack underneath it, it'll slide underneath it kind of thing like a ski, but I almost wiped out. I busted the thing that the vice was on instead of actually doing what I needed to do. So anyways, I'm gonna let that cool. I'm gonna lay a coat of paint on the bash bars and I'm going to start laying down some primer. I'm gonna redo the whole process of cleaning the bar that I just made for the jack point. I'm gonna clean it all off, prime it, paint it, and then probably let that sit for the night. So